attendance, including 64 heads of state and government. However, Borge Brente, the president of the World Economic Forum, has hailed the moment as historic, acknowledging both uncertainty and opportunity as global leaders gather. Meanwhile, the event's agenda has been overshadowed by U.S. President Donald Trump's controversial policy moves, including his demands for the U.S. to take over Greenland. As European leaders take center stage, protests have erupted outside, with Amnesty International accusing European governments of appeasing global strong men like Trump and Putin. Let's listen into what the president of World Economic Forum has shared.
We're really honored to have you join us at the start of such an important week. A week that promises to be both enriching and transformative, and comes at a historic moment as our world undergoes profound changes. It's a moment of uncertainty, but also possibility. Not a moment to retreat, but a moment to rise. Isn't this moment also when dialogue is not a luxury, but really a necessity? There's no way we can move the world forward without starting to speaking with each other. This year's theme, A Spirit of Dialogue, captures the essence of our mission. I envision the 3,000 participants here in Davos working in concert to drive positive change, and I count on each of you.
Now for this discussion, we welcome back Mr. Matthew Vadum. Also, we welcome Dr. Asta Chada. She is joining us from Kyoto, Japan. First, I'd like to go to Dr. Chada for my first question. And thank you once again for joining us. Dr. Chada, how should global leaders interpret this mix of uncertainty that's highlighted in, the World Economic Forum's head? We just heard him speak, and then this opportunity highlighted also by the World Economic Forum's president of this year.
Well, thank you for having me here to discuss this topic. Asuma, look, that they are highlighting on one hand the fact that there is spirit of dialogue, which means there is a point of convergence of interests for all parties involved, whether we're talking about states or we're talking about international organizations or we're talking about businesses. All of them should prioritize the fact that there is an interconnectedness. When we're talking about a contested world order, there needs to be establishment of trust. There is a shift of alliances. There is a move towards multipolarity. So those new realities should be taken into account. The fact that for a very long time, the top 1% have occupied a larger percent of the global wealth, that needs to be addressed. So there needs to be an investment on people, investment on their quality of living, investment on the understanding of planetary boundaries, the fact that we have to talk about climate change. We need to talk about newer technologies, deployment of AI, quantum computing, and all of these should be projected or they should be employed or instrumentalized in a way that helps in reskilling of people, helps in empowering them in one way or another. And that is not possible, unless there is a consensus in the global leadership. And no longer are we talking only about countries and sovereign states. We are talking about big businesses. We'll see a presence of big companies. We'll see presence of international organizations. So all of them need to converge, bring together different ideas. And I think World Economic Forum has stood out for that, as a priority, which is why when we see world leaders who are attending this, and I'm talking about people from several leaders from Europe, we're talking about President Donald Trump. He says he will be coming with a big delegation. I think that is the objective there, to come and discuss and have a dialogue, even if there might not be a complete overlap of interest or agreement on every point that they want to discuss. Similarly, the ones that are missing out, we will probably not see leadership from India, China, or for the current political reasons from Iran or even from Brazil attending. So when the entire BRICS leadership is not attending, does not mean they will not be sending in their delegations. They also will be sending very important people that can speak for the nation conversation, and then that can have that kind of a dialogue. So I look at this event this year to be, I mean, again, along with the theme that they have picked, to be of utmost importance, that allows the tabling of differences of views, but at the same time hoping, I mean, since it's just started, we are hoping that they can reach some sort of a convergence in terms of how one to accept that there are interconnected priorities, the fact that a seclusion related or inward looking policy on any state's part will not work, and three, there needs to be more emphasis on a collective threat that we are facing as humanity, specifically when we talk about climate change issues or nature related issues, which are beyond human control. I think those would be the focus, and I'm really looking forward to hearing about, looking forward to hearing from these leaderships from various spheres as to what they have to say about these.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. And building on that, I would like to ask Mr. Vadum for his opinion on, how Dr. Chadha has highlighted that there's so many contentious points as right now all the leaders do come in together, but of course there's so many disagreements in the background as well. So how do you think they will move on with their differences in this forum? And also, can you tell us a little bit about the fact that BRICS nation, it has sent their delegation, of course, but their presidents are not attending?
It's really hard for me to talk about the World Economic Forum because I am profoundly cynical about the World Economic Forum and its objectives. I think that the opening speech about, it's basically we're at a crossroads now and there are important things we need to discuss is, a recycled platitude probably from last year's speech and the speech before that. And I don't know that it means very much. And I think that the professor has pointed out many, possible issues that need to be discussed there. But I don't think the World Economic Forum is a valuable organization, and I think that their main purpose is a bunch of economic elitists who are trying to tell people how to live and what to do with their lives. This was the organization that infamously said, in the future, you will own nothing and you will be happy. They want these things called 15-minute cities. They want smart growth. They want all sorts of crackdowns on individual freedoms that people in many countries, including the United States, take for granted. I think that certainly the forum will provide an opportunity for its members to get better acquainted with President Trump, and if they flatter him enough, then maybe they'll get the policies that they want, because he's quite, unfortunately, I've been generally supportive of him, but he's quite susceptible to flattery. If you tell him how wonderful he is, you will often get your way. So maybe if they work on that, they can get some of the tariffs rescinded. So yeah, I'm not really optimistic about what goes on at Davos, Switzerland, and at World Economic Forum meetings. And I'm not confident that anything productive anything useful will actually be accomplished. Sorry, I'm cynical, but that's just the way I see it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vadum, for being honest and sharing that insight regardless. And with that, I would like to thank both our guests, Mr. Matthew Vadum and Dr. Chadha, for joining us and sharing that insight.